Hey there, thanks for coming. About 10 minutes. I always arrive much earlier than I should. Bad habit of mine. Nah, don't worry about it. Shall we? Here, let me get the door for you. No problem at all. Tough to choose? Well, I usually get a hot mocha with whipped cream. Still remains my favorite to this day. Are you gonna have the house special? It's actually a favorite around here. No, I haven't tried it before, but I heard it's pretty good. My taste buds just always crave the mocha. No, that's fine. I'll cover the bill. Look at that, they already finished making ours. Since they installed these new touchscreens to place your order, it looks like they do everything much faster now. Any place in particular you like to sit? The windows? Same. Oh, big question. Sure, what's on your mind? That's a great question, and I don't mind answering it. I decided to date outside of my ethnicity because I wanted to broaden my spectrum. I've been told by people of my own ethnic group many times over to only date within, but the last few times have gone very, very bad. I'm not knocking everyone in my ethnicity, but I just want to try something different. How about you? What sparked your interest to consider someone of a different ethnicity? Bad experience with your own. I'm sorry to hear that. What have they been doing? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Wow. Yeah, that can get annoying and pretty much lead to toxicity over time. It's starting to sound like they're stuck in some traditions, yes? Yeah, it looks like you're really fed up with the traditions. It appears that they're just like old habits. They die hard. I too ran into snags like that with my folks. They always have some negative things to say about a particular ethnicity and then label that as the primary reason not to date anyone within that group. But I've met some very well demeanored people in just about every ethnic group out there. Now, I'm not denying what my folks experienced in their times, but the others had nothing to do with that. I just don't think it's fair for the people who had nothing to do with the bad interactions of before to suffer for what those people actually did. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know what you mean. The slang talk within me will come out once in a while, but I'm usually selective of when I actually use it. One of the other reasons I chose to broaden my options is because of what I'm looking for in a mate. A vast majority of those I've met in my own ethnicity had tendencies of being vocally loud and just really jumpy. Now, I'm definitely positive not all of them behave like that. But from my perspective, being around that kind of energy all the time really drains me out. So I'm looking for one of a softer voice and can provide a balance from all the other stuff that I have to deal with in the workforce, in all the other locations. In the home is the last place I would want to deal with something like that. Does that make sense? Yeah, I really, really, really hate yelling. Some of my peers just claim that I'm just not hard or I'm just a punk for not being more aggressive. But that's not what conversational resolve is about. It's not about who can yell the loudest. It's about those involved being able to come to a common ground. You know what I mean? We're supposed to hear each other out and reach a mutual resolve. We do not have to yell to do that. Oh, your family yells a lot too. Man, yelling helps them get their point across. Yeah, there are some folks in my own neck of the woods that they say the same thing. But I have this theory, and it seems to be quite evident. It seems like those who raise their voices have had a history of not being taken seriously and their expressions dismissed. In addition, they may have also suffered being verbally trampled, and the yelling and aggressive tone that they do now appears to be a type of defense mechanism. No, I'm not a psychologist. I suppose I just connect dots in ways that the general public doesn't necessarily connect them. So, question. Would your family be okay with you in an interracial relationship? Oh, they wouldn't. Did they share why? Oh, no. Besides the reasons that they mentioned before, did they mention any others? I see. So they're operating more on the just don't do it type of structure. I see. My ethnicity does kind of the same, but they give some reasons related to their own history with that particular group. Well, it was the history between them and some of Caucasian descent, unfortunately. While I understand what had happened between them back then was horrible, I still don't think that the descendants that have no desire to continue those atrocities should be punished for it, you know? I've met plenty in that ethnic group who are absolutely awesome in demeanor. They've even helped me out in multiple occasions. Yeah, that's another great question. On one side, there is a point that there are still some real issues between all ethnicities that are problematic. But again, I stress that not every person of that ethnic group shares the same tyrannical views. Some of them in each group actually see the destructive potential, just as you do, and I do, and I'm sure many others, and they choose a better path like what we're doing, and they commit to mutual respect with all groups. Meanwhile, for some others, it appears that they've just been brainwashed. They've been taught to hate another ethnic group and not really given a valid reason why, and this has caused a lot of problems, as I'm sure you've seen as well. What I'm trying to understand, or maybe the answer is already there, is why people feel just because one person of an ethnic group does something bad, that now all people in that group will do the same. I'm pretty sure that has to do with some trauma and whatnot, and maybe some triggers in that regard, but still, it's not fair. And mind you, some of them are the same people that don't like when they are stereotyped in that manner as well. So I just want to know where all this is coming from and how can we resolve it? Yeah, that's exactly it. I try to see the good in everyone. To me, it's the right thing to do because each person is their own person, and it's not fair to bundle everyone together on a matter that one person did. And the last time I checked, I don't recall any particular culture or ethnicity specifically practicing immoral and heinous demeanors. Those kind of behaviors show up in every single ethnicity. So, considering the evidence for what it is, it appears we are looking in the wrong direction. Instead of looking at the ethnicity, we should be looking at and dealing with the behavior. Because if we start looking at it from the behavioral discrepancy, then every ethnicity will be held accountable. So, I suspect that some people are just trying to get another person penalized for misconduct, but not their own. So it's kind of like this one-upping type of mentality. And the common answers I hear from those who do this is their experience and the pain that is with it. So they basically try to use their past trauma of misconduct in an attempt to justify their own misconduct. Basically, the victim mentality. Thanks. Sorry if I rambled there, but it does really get under my skin at times, even though I try not to let it. Oh, you think the same too? That's awesome. It's actually really helpful to me to meet others who see the same turmoil. I know they're out there, but it's just really nice to actually get to meet them. So, being that we have that in common, I'd say this date is turning out to be very successful from the start. I'm glad to hear that. I definitely like another date as well. I know our time was kind of short because I know you got somewhere to be, but I do appreciate you taking the time to come out. Your number? Okay, got it. Here's mine. All right, thanks again for the meetup. Till next time.